Again, here we're on Brunswick Avenue. We have a resident here, David Fisher. He says that this felt like an explosion when it first went off.
At first, I felt a rumble with like a slight boom. So I thought it was part of the construction. And the next thing you know, my boss comes in and she was like, "Oh my God, did you feel that?"
I don't think we're going to get any storms after what has been an absolutely brutal week of weather in the city. I mean, Degan, some of the ugliest days in memory were Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Would you not agree?
I would say a couple of days ago, I would not have used the word biblical, but today, biblical. It's been a biblical week.
In New York City, nearly 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Look at this, lightning striking the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor.
We want to show you a picture. This is from here in New York, lightning striking the Statue of Liberty.
I mean, initially, within the first couple seconds, the dogs reacted to something, and then within about a second or so, it felt like an explosion. Sounded like an explosion, and you felt waves come up from underneath you. And my initial reaction was that the furnace had exploded. So I yelled down to my son to check the furnace. He said everything was okay. He came up the stairs, and then you felt the house shift. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for about 10 seconds. I've never felt anything like it.
And it's so interesting. The dogs felt it before you did. You said they started barking.
Right. Initially, they started barking, I would say, about 1 or 2 seconds before you felt an explosion. You heard an explosion, and that's what I thought it was.
It hit New Jersey, it hit New York, it hit Philadelphia, even Vermont, all reporting feeling the trembling.
Something weird about this solar eclipse. It's being treated differently than I remember any solar eclipse ever being treated in my lifetime. NASA apparently will fire 3 rockets at the solar eclipse. Okay. The Devil Comet will become visible during the solar eclipse in April. CERN to test the world's most powerful particle accelerator during April's solar eclipse to search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe. All of these things have led people like red-headed libertarian to say, it almost sounds like the world leaders are trying to summon the Antichrist. Yeah, almost. I mean, they are also definitely doing that. They actually built a giant altar to sacrifice a red heifer in Israel, specifically to summon the Antichrist. It's just a lot of weird things.
You need a catastrophe in order to focus people's minds, in order to change. Only a catastrophe can shake humankind and open the path to a real system of global governance.
And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth."
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what's about to happen on April 8th of 2024. First of all, CERN is going to be starting up their Hadron Collider to collide 2 atoms to produce what they're looking for called the God particle.
Oh, really?
Not only that, NASA is launching rockets into the eclipse, and they call the mission after an Egyptian serpent deity.
Move on! Nothing to see here! Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
The cicadas are coming by the billions, first time since we've seen them since 1803, covering a large swath of the United States of America.
Some kind of joke? You guys put me on?
Red heifers are about to be sacrificed in Israel for the first time in thousands of years, setting the pages of prophecy on fire. There's a massive solar eclipse coming across the United States, forming an X marks the spot in southern Illinois. That's got to be prophetic. Not only that, we've got wars and rumors of wars and more.
And I would say about 20 after 10, if that was the time, there was a gigantic explosion sound. And it was like, I looked around the club, there were about 75 people here, and everybody was looking around. It's like, that's not normal. And then a couple of the United employees came over my way, and one of them said, "What was that?" And somebody else said, "I've never heard anything like that."
As the tremors were being felt throughout the city, of course, as we take a look at it here. You know, it's interesting because some people were saying it felt like a train was going by when you were talking to Maurice Dubois. Wasn't he saying he thought a train was going by, but he doesn't have a train line right next to his place?
and the tremors sent a web of cracks into a driveway in Morrisville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. My heart is like still racing. And, 10 minutes away, someone I know didn't feel it. And then 15 minutes the other way, they felt it. So it's just very odd and kind of scary.
With shockwaves felt 300 miles away.
People in at least 10 states and even right here in the nation's capital experienced some shaking. The aftershocks are still coming tonight.
It was just very strong. I'm actually still hearing rumblings. I don't know what it is. And just a little bit ago, I felt a tremor aftershock. Like I said, I'm not used to this stuff.
Huh.
So we are still hearing.
Ashley, was it similar to what you heard initially more than an hour ago?
Not as strong. Definitely not as strong. But every 5-10 minutes, maybe spacing out longer, it sounds like thunder. And I don't know what it is, if it has something to do with the earthquake, but I'm definitely hearing it. And then, like I said a little bit ago, again, felt something, definitely not as strong, but it was something. So I don't know if that's the result of the earthquake, but like I said, I'm right by the epicenter, and that was just very surreal.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what you see. You can see that stuff falling from the walls. The dog there a little bit freaked out by this.
Yeah, you hear the force of that quake as the dog stood atop a dining room table. Another one was, if you could see it, wandering down below. Their owner wrote on social media, "Yes, our husky sleeps on the dining room table while we're not home."
In Middlesex, you could see and hear when books and items fell off the shelves inside that home. You could see how intense the shaking of the camera was, and that's what people described feeling throughout their body at 10:23 this morning in this area. At this point, officials here in Hunterdon County urging people or business owners to report any damage that's occurred so they could get a sense of really how widespread the impacts are. And by the way, this is the second earthquake this area has experienced in about a month.
I was talking to my husband. He said he noticed a bunch of birds hiding under bushes right before the earthquake because his store is down in Lebanon. So that's, maybe they sensed something.
Yeah. Ashley, I don't want to harp on this, but what you were just describing to us a moment ago, is that still happening or is that over?
Well, I haven't heard anything since I've been on the phone with you, but I don't know. I'm anticipating hearing that thundery sound again. I don't know what that's from. It sounds like thunder.
Okay.
It's the only way I can explain it.
Were you surprised by how far-reaching these reports were for an earthquake that was centered in New Jersey?
I was surprised.
You talked about the fact that it's been since the 17 and 1800s that we felt this kind of shake and this kind of magnitude earthquake in the greater New York City area.
So here we are, we're inside the United Nations Security Council meeting, and we want to see the expressions on their face. Everybody says, what in the world's going on?
Schools normally form a spine of protection for children, a place where children can seek humanitarian services and normality. Is that an earthquake?
Yeah.
EarthCam even capturing the Statue of Liberty shaking.
This picture was taken during the storms yesterday. The lightning bolt seems to have directly hit and come out of Lady Liberty's torch there. So I don't know, you can almost take it in two different ways. Lightning coming from the sky and hitting the torch, or maybe the torch was just firing up a big strong bolt to the sky.
It was a little scary. It was a little weird.
Is that an earthquake?
The power of the quake split this road in Union, ruptured a water main in nearby Chester. Now, at this moment, New York's emergency crews are checking all critical infrastructure like tunnels and the Brooklyn Bridge you see behind me for any hidden damage or fractures. Also, we just felt an aftershock. It has a preliminary magnitude of 4.0. The governor warned about this, and NORA, the USGS, warns that the threat of aftershocks lasts a full week.
But not New York. We don't have big earthquakes here. I don't know, but between the earthquake and the eclipse, I'm going to church this weekend.
CERN is about to start up the Hadron Collider, ladies and gentlemen, on April 8th, on the day of the biggest solar eclipse in American history.
And you tell me it's all in my head?
A large portion of CERN is located in the territory of St. Genus Poli, probably not pronouncing that right. In Roman times, it was called Apollicum. The town and the temple were dedicated to Apollyon, the destroyer. So this is ancient Horus. This is Shiva. The town Apollyon literally is dedicated to the god of destruction, the god of chaos, the destroyer. And this entire Hadron Collider is right in the middle of Apollyon.
You're wrecking my life.
Now, why is that so important? Because if you go to the book of Revelation, this is what we read. It says in chapter 9, verse 1, 2, and 11, to him was given the keys of the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue his name is Apollyon.
Absolutely ridiculous, man.
This is CERN, the nuclear research laboratory on the border of France and Switzerland. It features the most powerful particle accelerator on Earth, the Large Hadron Collider, or LHC. What does it do? Well, it accelerates and collides particles at 99.99% the speed of light. And maybe it could produce the very first lab-grown black hole.
You sound insane. Do you realize that? You should be medicated.
There are a bunch of events taking place in the month of April that not only have biblical references, but they also have demonic undertones as well, demonic references. We do know that Aleister Crowley found power speaking to demons in the month of April, that the veil was thinned, specifically on the days of April 8th, April 9th, and April 10th in 1904. He was able to communicate with a demon known as Aiwass. Aleister Crowley communicated with this demon Aiwass while he was on his honeymoon in Cairo, Egypt. And he credits this demon for authoring the Book of Law, his Book of Law. Now, there also happens to be something located in this spot in Illinois. Now, like I said many times in my previous videos talking about this total eclipse, there is a location in Illinois known as the Carbondale area, or also known as Little Egypt. As the total eclipse back in 2017 and the total eclipse coming up on April 8th, 2024 will cross paths to form this X over this location, Little Egypt. We also have this biblical plague breaking out in Illinois as well, the merging of these two different broods of cicadas. There will be this massive cicada outbreak in Illinois as well. So what's in this area or location that is so important? Well, did you know that Illinois also happened to find a predicted demon? That is right, they found a demon particle. 67 years ago, and we know they love their numerology, 6 plus 7 is 13, but 67 years ago, a physicist, David Pines, out of nowhere in 1956, said there's a particle that exists that is massless and does not interact with light. That this particle absolutely opposes light. And once this particle is found, because it will be found, it will change our understanding of physics. Well, David Pine's prediction was not wrong, because 67 years later in 2023, scientists in Illinois at the University of Urbana-Champaign have found evidence of this demonic particle, this demon particle. Matter of fact, these same scientists state that they have successfully summoned the demon in Illinois. They found actual evidence of a demon particle inside metal.
Abnati from UIUC to talk about his brand new discovery in Pine's, what do you call it, demon? Or
it's a demon. I think it's a demon.
These scientists in Illinois also call this demon particle an evil presence molecule. And they state they call it an evil presence because it's massless and it can change shape with any energy. Kind of sounds like possession. This demon particle plays a big role with superconductivity. And we do know there were scientists on board MH370 that found a breakthrough when it came to superconductivity, and well, we know that plane just oddly, quote unquote, disappeared. Scientists state that they are not finished trying to awaken this demon particle, that this also plays a pivotal role with dark energy that they are desperately trying to find. Well, another event that has not taken place in 70 years, on April 8th, 2024 will be in the form of the Devil's Comet, and we will have NASA and CERN very active that day. Not only will we have NASA firing off 3 rockets at the total eclipse, 3 rockets that are oddly named APEP, which also means the devil, but more importantly, CERN, that exact same day, while this demon comet will be visible in the sky, will start up their most powerful particle accelerator in hopes of finding this dark matter, this dark energy.
Finally worked out why you were all asking me if we are restarting the LHC on April 8th. Hi, my name is Clara and I am a particle physicist working on the Atlas experiment at CERN. In fact, I've just finished a night shift in our control room. I've now finally understood why I'm getting these messages saying, are you starting the LHC on April 8th? It's because the solar eclipse in the US also happens to be on April the 8th. Just to let you know, well, the LHC is already back on. We've been having beams back in the accelerator since the beginning of March, specifically March 8th, and we have been commissioning the Large Hadron Collider, which means checking that all of the settings and everything's running properly before we do the collisions for data taking. So we have already been doing test collisions, but it's the regular running that starts on April the 8th. It just happens to coincide with an astronomical event, so the timing is a pure coincidence.
So, like I said, these scientists found the demon particle in 2023. CERN will initiate their Large Hadron Collider on April 8th, but everything will end in something known as an awake facility on April 22nd. Here's where everything ties together and why they're trying to usher in this king demon, this antichrist, this demonic messiah. Now, like I said, everything ends with CERN on April 22nd. At a awake facility. Well, what is happening on April 22nd? Well, April 22nd is the beginning of Passover, and it will last until April 30th of 2024. Many believe that this will be the date that the red heifer will be sacrificed in Israel. Now, it will be sacrificed soon because the altar has already been built, and that they're waiting for Passover in order to sacrifice this red heifer. And again, the reason why this ceremony will take place is so that the Jewish people can usher in their Messiah. This is not a second coming of Jesus Christ because Jewish people do not believe Jesus Christ is the Messiah. So this will usher in this new Messiah for Jewish people. The last temple that was built and destroyed was 2,000 years ago by the Romans. So you mean to tell me it took them over 2,000 years to rebuild this third temple? That there were no other red heifers or red cows that were born between the last time the temple was destroyed and today. So it tells me that they found something, that there's something about this month of April, and that they found something that they can now go ahead with this ritual and usher in this Messiah. A month where all these bizarre and unique events are taking place. News and media are also letting us know that a condition that was discovered back in 2020, discovered in a man back in 2020 because he bumped his head, researched and investigated in 2021, well, 2022, 2023, nobody heard of this condition that they knew existed back in 2020. Well, oddly, in March of 2024, news and media are letting the public know that demon face syndrome exists, that people see demons, and that it's a condition. Now, going back to this demon particle they found in Illinois a year ago, they also state that these demon particles are very important to computing. In the realm of computing, demon particles may facilitate the development of novel electronic devices that operate with unparalleled efficiency. The absence of resistance with these devices could lead to the creation of ultra-fast, energy-efficient computers, marking a quantum leap in computational power. Now, what did Jordy Rose state, the founder of D-Wave, quantum computers? Or in my opinion, demonic wave. Well, he stated with quantum computers, they found the key to the abyss, and that they are summoning demons, a tidal wave of demons, and nobody's paying attention. As we bicker with politics, nobody realizes that they are ushering in, summoning in demons.
conspiracy that's arisen on the internet that goes like this. So D-Wave builds quantum computers. The way that they work, if you know how this works, is one of the interpretations is that you tap into these parallel universes and they do computations. Sounds really weird. But what's happened is this idea has been hijacked to describe something called the Mandela effect, which is this thing where the past changes. So think about something you know to be true from the past. And then imagine you went out on the internet and you can't find it at all. It's not there. It doesn't match with your experience. So these people think that D-Wave is responsible, and CERN. And of course, the quantum key to the abyss factors into it somehow. I'm not exactly sure how. It says things like this, like, when you do this, beware. Because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, and you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say and not one thing more, but it never works out that way. So this is an attitude that some are having, this emerging alarmism about the way this is going to go. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.